Hi, how's it going?
Doing fine. How was the race?
I finished. Yeah.
Better than I could do.
Yeah, it was good. It was definitely a lot more, it reminds me of the track I did in San Diego. It was very hilly. So like,
Mhm.
that was, it's different trying to do that terrain than, Vegas. What I'm used to is just flat and I had to sit in the car though after immediately after for 4 hours and then the next day for 4 hours back. And I think that I've had some pain from that. So,
Right. A little
but
lactic acid going on there,
what was that?
a little lactic acid going on there.
Oh yeah, for sure. There definitely was. But no, it was good. It was after running halves, it was a pleasant surprise looking at the 7 mile marker, knowing I only had 2.5 left compared to another 7. So anyways, how's it been with you?
Been going okay. Been going
Yeah.
okay. I've been really busy this week doing other stuff, so trying to get the training in the meantime. I had a lot of trouble pulling it up on my phone and actually listening to it in the car because I did a lot of driving this week. So
Okay.
I've been, just, but I have been listening to it around the house. Made it through all the first three sections there. Um, I've gone back and once I got on my computer, I pulled up like download workbook. A lot of the workbooks are just, the I don't know exactly what you call it, but transcripts of exactly what he's saying, from 000 to 0018, here's what he said. And then from 0019 to, what I mean? So that I find that helpful. Um, and some of the links were broken. It's like click on this.
Which one?
Um, Let me see. So I was looking at it again. I tried it again this morning. Um, it might be the one on. Let me pull up the one on White Spark. But there's a link to at the bottom. Hold on. Yeah, snaps.ai/citations. When I click on it, I keep getting this error that says buycitations.com uses an unsupported protocol. They can't provide a secure location, and so they won't
Uh,
go through.
let me see if I'll write Tyler and maybe they Snaps is kind of again we created it so they're always updating or things so maybe that link just didn't get updated but I will check with Tyler and see what's going on so I
It's
can
the
send it.
link on the I don't know, the section on White Spark. Okay.
Yeah,
And there
yeah,
was one or
I see
two
it.
others. Yeah, there
Okay.
was one or two others I couldn't, and I can't remember where they were. You
Okay.
know, I, the workbooks that actually had the information I downloaded, and I've got them all, I've got them all here, kind of in order, the different study guides. But I kind of did what I don't normally do. Normally, I do kind of like what you do, is go through one by one and do everything they tell you to do. And what happens at the end is I did it. I went step by step, but I don't know how it all fits in,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then and there's a lot of times where Dan says he's talking, and I got to tell you, some of these he's not he's not organized, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So there is a lot of wasted time where he's just trying to find a niche or trying to where I feel like he should have done that ahead of time. We could have
Mm-hmm.
cut that, but regardless, there's a lot of things where he'll talk about, but we'll talk about that later. And I'm thinking, okay, but when,
So yeah. So originally there's when we first like when I learned this, right? Uh many, many versions ago. Dan had, and this is where you can choose on which route you want to go, right? And I've said this to students, everyone learns differently. So if you feel like it's more beneficial for you to watch all the videos, right? Like kind of just see the process, from start to finish. That's what Dan had us do back way in the day.
right. And that's
I
what I'm trying to do now. I don't normally
okay,
do that, but that's what I'm trying to do. And then I'm going to
yeah.
go back.
And that's okay, right? Like I mean, like I said, the way I like to do it now is I like to implement like quicker, like right? But I also understand that if it doesn't make sense, right? And you need to see, okay, why are we doing this? And this leads to this, and this is why I'm doing X, Y, and Z. That's okay too. You're still gonna reach the finish line, right? I mean, like, I just want you to build on a solid foundation. So like, however that looks like to you, I just want you to know there's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay. Like, um, when it comes to the due diligence, which is kind of where you're at, right? Um, this is where I like to check in specifically because I do think this is the most, I have two sections that I think I talk about the most. This is one of them. Because I really do think that people can overthink this process like a ton.
Yeah, I already am.
No, I get it. Like, this is why I have these, this is why, honestly, well, I'll set up this because I already know, like, I just know it's coming. But I know when you get through the first couple, it's just gonna make sense and you're gonna, it's experience and whatever. I'm gonna send you, this is kind of how I like to do this. I think you can still watch the videos if you want to keep going, right? Just kind of get through the part. Um, I would like you along with that to work on some of the due diligence sheets, and I can send you I have some other resources, links I can send you to. Like, we've done so many lives on them where we literally just we're doing a sheet live with, you guys as well, like filling it out. I just think that there's no right or wrong niche, and I just want to like reiterate that, like, there's so much out there that you can monetize, so I don't want you to like think there's some golden ticket, like you have to, this is a 99%, like method, but there's always that 1% that you're like, okay, well, I mean, I've done sites where I'm like, I thought it was going to be amazing, and then I'm like, oh, okay, didn't go as, way I planned. But then you have these other ones that you're like, okay, maybe I'm like, middle ground on it, but it's still, it performed better than I thought, right? Like, so you kind of just have to, I think Dan says it in one of the videos, like, it's very gray, and you have to kind of, it's a gray area thing with it. So
Right.
just know it's not black and white, but um if for game plan wise, if this works and kind of will help you, kind of get through it, you can finish the videos, you just keep chugging along, right? Go through them,
Well, I was going to kind of stop now and then go back to number one and, start
okay.
like downloading the things and playing with it. And I mean, whatever you think is best. I don't know.
I mean, I guess this is my thing. I don't really feel like, okay, the next section's the build out, right? That this is technical. Like, you're click here, do this, right? Um, I don't really think that's beneficial because if you don't know what you want to build, to me, that's
Right.
kind of like, you know, I think that to your point, if you want to go back and do the first three, like, that's totally fine. The first three sections, I mean. Um, I just don't, I would hesitate to say go forward with build out just because I think that would, I mean, I don't retain information like that unless I do it. So, like, just my thought. But the biggest portion right now is due diligence because that is the niche stuff, right? So we got to get some those done for yous that we're gonna build. Like, so I want to kind of help you with going through those due diligence sheets. I'm gonna send you a list I have. It has, not to overwhelm you again, but it has like 2,100 different niches on it. Like Dan says in the video too, like, the riches are in the obscure niches, right? And what we mean by that is it's not just fencing. Okay, like, what kind of fence, right? Like, is it a chain link or is it commercial or is it residential installation, right? Like, it's just diving one step deeper. So this list has like all of that kind of stuff on it. So if you think, okay, go into this, like, just, I have it still and I keep them highlighted because I'm like, obviously you're not going to go through like, 2,100, but like, I have the ones that have kind of like, oh, that seems interesting, or like, I know a friend of a friend that has, like, that kind of stuff, right? To go through the list. So then we take that list and then we kind of just start researching those do the due diligence on it, through the sheets. So I think that I would say do that, send the list, go through. If you have some ideas, great, you can utilize that too. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna share my screen here in a second, and I'm gonna kind of show you the main things I want you to look for too, okay? Because this is the other thing with due diligence. This is where people can go down a really big rabbit hole. And I'm the same way, like I'm a perfectionist, like I like to think I have all my ducks in a row, like that kind of thing. And I really had to learn to take like imperfect action and be okay with it, and it was a big thing for me because I'm not that way, like at all. So, but I mean, Dan is, and sometimes I'm like, I didn't agree with it, but also from that flip side, he's the one that's, like who am I mean, gonna listen to, in that sense, right? You listen to the person that you want to be in their shoes. So, I mean, I did it and it definitely helped. So, I'm going to give you kind of like the way I like to do due diligence because it's going to dumb it down, simplify it, I guess is the way I'd say. So, that would be my action plan for you, is to focus on
Okay.
that. I think it's good too on that goal sheet. Again, you don't even have to punch in all the numbers, but I do think it's good to even have a number goal, right? Like, and then we can break that down like, hey, by this amount of time, I want to be at this amount. And then we break that down, right? Even farther. And it's okay to start small. Some people want to start massively big. I think that's, to me, those are daunting. Like, I don't do well with goals like that because like my race, right? Like, for example, I sign up for this thing, I don't practice, and it's like and now I'm hurting for like a week later, but like it's easier to do like I'm gonna do this twice a week or that kind of stuff. So same with your goals with this, right? Even if it's, I'm going to get through this portion of the training by this time, or I'm going to, those are just such important mental things that you can accomplish, right? Because it's hard to, you know, continue all the time sometimes, especially in the beginning when you feel like, you don't see the tangible, the check or the call immediately, but we'll get there. So anyways, does that
I
make
will
sense?
say it was a little disconcerting. I don't know whether it was the goal sheet or whatever, but when it was like, so how many are you going to sign up? Like 1 out of 15. I didn't think it was going to be that.
I don't think so. I mean, it's not really like, I mean, I think that it depends on how we're looking at the model too, right? Like, I mean, a lead gen's getting leads, someone's going to take it regardless, right? Is it going to be your first phone call? I mean, I have no idea, like,
Right.
so, but you have to, I think the point that he's trying to make is the beginning's always the hardest, and as you dial in everything, that number just continues to go up, right? It's just, I mean, you know how that works in sales and everything else. And, that's what he's trying to say is I think that the expectations put by people can be the most harmful thing to the business, right? Because, you know, okay, let's just say it is 15. I mean, you could talk to 15 people in a day and close a deal that's worth 2 grand that day, right? You do the next thing, like it's just kind of things like that. You have to put it into perspective. That's my point. So, um, I don't personally think lead gens are that difficult, at all. Now, if you're pitching, website builds or SEO clients, right? More of that, you're still working for the customer kind of thing. And yeah, that's still revenue, right? Like there is all that. But yeah, I mean, that could be you're going to talk to multiple people and maybe you're not going to close everyone, So I just think that that's kind of the message he's trying to put, right? It's just a numbers game of, and also too with lead gens, here's the other thing. When you have, let's just say we'll stick with the 15 number. Not every one of those is all going to rank at the same time, right? So like that's the other portion of this is like, maybe you have, 3 out of the 15 that are, super hot getting in, so you're going to have that, but you're going to have these other ones that are going to be like moving up a little bit. So maybe, you're not fully monetizing them yet. So again, I just think it's kind of the recipe in there.
No, what I took it was you're contacting 15 businesses and you're only signing up one, regardless of the niche, regardless. It was like, I didn't know that it would be that difficult because I've been in business and I know what it's like to generate leads or not be able to. And
Yeah.
it's hard to believe that someone that comes in and says, hey, first of all, I've got this lead. Would you be interested? And
Yeah.
then let's talk, talk about this. And if somebody came back to me and said that I don't have to pay for anything unless that lead actually sold,
Yeah. No,
I
for
would have
sure.
loved that.
100%. That's what I'm saying. I don't, and I
I
have
can't
talked to
believe that
them.
it takes 15 business owners to find one that says, okay, let's try this.
Yeah, I didn't for me, honestly, but I think again, everyone's situation's different. I definitely know some people have gone through, or got hung up, like that kind of thing, but it just depends on, you know, the market and all that and leads and
Right.
whatever. So, but yeah, to your point, what risk that, I mean, they would be stupid not to do that. Like, I
I
mean,
know.
it's,
It's like I
it's,
don't pay you anything unless I actually make a sale.
yeah, for
You know,
sure. Yeah.
I also kind of like that hybrid model where, let's say it's $500 a month plus
Correct. Mhm.
5% or something, So I
I did
am
a
getting
lot of
paid.
that too, because then it's still guaranteed money, right? In some sense,
Right.
because I think that that's almost like your value. Like, hey, I'm gonna trust you enough. I do need some, I need something a little bit in return, right? In that sense, but you know, you don't have to pay me unless you close them. So I did that one a lot in like home remodel stuff. Just to kind of have something in there. So it's
Right.
not like, oh yeah, I'm just sitting here and just pay me when you want to pay me. And like kind of having that value. So anyway,
Yeah. He was also kind of confusing about and he talks about it in a number of ones, but the low hanging fruit and going in there, it's like, okay, so they're on Google Maps, but then they're not here. Yeah, there they are. Wait, no, they're on first page. Wait, no, they're on the second page. Oh, wait, so this is low hanging fruit. I'm thinking, but there's so many different categories.
yeah.
I'm just not even gonna worry.
I got you covered on that. Don't worry. I mean, that's what I'm going to show
I'm
you.
not even gonna really worry about that. I'm just gonna, you know,
Don't.
so
This is where, okay. I'm gonna give me like what's the city that you're in, like closest to you?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia. Okay. I'm just gonna pick like, I'm gonna do pest control because, that
We
was
got
my
a lot of bugs. We got a lot of bugs.
It's the East, man. I know. I was at baseball last night and it was mosquito, mosquito. I'm like, oh, here we go.
They love me.
They do for me too. I think I'm actually allergic because I get one bite and I swell. I mean, to the point where, I mean, it's just horrible. So I'm not a bug person. I don't like it. I'm not a snake person. I'm not a spider. I'm just like, no. That's what I did like about the West Coast. There's not a lot of bugs, but here,
Right.
every freaking where. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. So this is kind of like here's an example. If I was gonna do like this, right? Due diligence. This is what I would type. I would type in like pest control, Columbia, South Carolina, whatever. This pops up, right? So then I'm gonna look at a couple things. And on the due diligence sheet, and I kind of make my own version of this in my head that makes sense. So I have my due diligence sheet, right? I take a lot of notes. So I'll write down things like they have a sponsored map post. Okay. So what this is called, this is actually like horrible for businesses, but it's fine. They do it because they don't have another option, right? Like that's why everyone's running ads, for the most part. What this is, it's they can book from it. Google like used to be called Google Guaranteed, that kind of thing. Again, it's not, I know how the structure is, it's not very beneficial for businesses, but to my point, I write down like, okay, there's these companies quickly, that are running, sponsored posts. Okay, great. Orkin sponsored finds a national company. Same thing with Termex, right? Like national company. Then I scroll down to here. To Dan's point, when he's saying the maps, this is what I want you to like drill in your head because this is what you should look for. It's really simple. Do the maps. So like what we mean by that, the first three, right? They're
Right.
called the map pack. Do these match, right? The organics. So we can dissect this really quickly. Here we go. Okay, modern exterminator. Okay,
Is
there's
number
that.
two.
So that's one. So then we have next one, clear defense. Okay, I
Now
don't,
you're down at sponsored again.
yep. One thing you can tell too, okay, from sponsored posts, if there's a lot of them, which I would say this one has a decent amount, you got to remember everyone looks at that and they're like, oh my gosh, there's all these sponsored. Well, you know at that point that they're paying for leads. These are like
Right.
your, like, I mean, to me, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I mean, there's already people that are paying. I'm 1,000% gonna find, I have a client, right? At that point. Um,
Now let me ask you something, because I've seen this. I did some of this, on my own. I noticed, it used to be sponsored was just at the top, and then you had the organic, or you had the map, whatever. I see now that they've got sponsored, and then they've got some organic, then they got sponsored again at the bottom.
yeah.
So, so do they limit the amount of organic on page one because of that?
Um,
Because on this, there's only like two or three that are organic.
so you have,
If you go down, if you
yeah,
keep
so
going
we have
down,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I'd say 8 to 10 is pretty typical. 8 to 9,
okay,
I mean, sorry, that's pretty normal for organics. Usually the first page is like 1 through 9, next one is 10 through 19. Um, so the reason why there's so many more sponsored posts on this is because it's a very competitive niche. That's why, I mean, like, that's what you can take from that fact because there's that many people that are paying for ads, right? That's a good thing because what that means too is that if they're paying, these smaller companies that are paying for ads are not getting the best spots, right? Like they're paying all this money for what? Like a spot on page two? Like that's not going
right
to
at
get
the
them
bottom of page two, maybe,
correct.
you
Like
know,
that's not, I mean, by this point, we've probably already looked and picked our thing. Okay. So that's what I just like you to take note of those things. Just again, simple notes. You can just star, hey, like this is what I've seen. Um, I saw this company on the second page. Okay. So like basically the only one I really saw in the top spots was this one, this modern.
modern, right?
Okay. I'm I like to rank my due diligence. It's silly, but this is what works for me in like stoplight colors. Like I do green, yellow, and red, right? So green would be none of those maps would be in the organics. Okay. Like, I mean, that kind of stuff. And then, maybe the maps, maybe one of these didn't have a website attached to it. You'll see that too. Like they'll just have directions. That's horrible. I can't believe businesses still haven't figured this
I
out.
can't believe how many
I
times I work
know.
for a business and there's no website. I'm thinking,
I
I
know.
don't even know.
It happened to me yesterday. I was looking, I had to get out of my house for a little bit. The cleaners were coming and she doesn't like when anyone was here, so I always have to leave for a few hours, like on certain days. I know I hate it, but so then I made it a thing now where I go to different coffee shops because I'm like, oh, I'll just try to pick a new coffee shop to like explore. So I was literally looking up a local coffee shop and they didn't have a website on their Google Maps. I'm like, are you joking me? Like, I mean, we're in 25 at this point. Like, the fact that you don't have that, it literally deterred me from not going because I just wanted to check out pictures or what it was,
Right.
and so that's like, again, a telltale sign that they don't know what they're doing. They're not optimizing. So if they're in the spots for that and that's like green light, go, that you're going to easily get in there. Um, Yellow, I would say yellow would be kind of this for me. Like this would be like a yellow because there's still some websites that aren't on the first page. You do have that one. Okay, fine. But also this is important too. Look at what the first organic is. It's Yelp.
Yeah.
That means that there is no local site. And I'm going to show you what an example of a red would be in a second. You'll see the difference. That just means that there's no local sites that are, authoritative enough that Google is going to put up there. Okay. So I don't personally dive super deep into these numbers and things on the due diligence sheets like now. I like to get a scope of like, I just kind of do those steps, right? I'm going to go through, okay, this one, and this one. Like to me, there's no point in filling out, like if I'm starting to look for a niche, right? And then I start it and then I'm like, oh, this is like a red to me. I'm not going to go through the rest of it. Like I'm going to move on to
All
the
right, I'm
next thing.
done. I'm done.
Correct. So I just personally think that's how I want you to kind of start doing those. 'Cause I do think you're going to start to see correlations between certain, oh, hey, like I see this, then I see this, and I see this. Um, you just have to remember, like at the end of the day, we can beat out any site, right? Like I can beat out a red site. It's just that I have to know it's going to take me longer, right? More work, that kind of stuff. I'm not looking for that right now, right? I'm looking for the greens, yellows, because I'm trying to do less work. And so that's, the way I like to kind of look at those things. This is an example of red. um, Las Vegas limos. Okay. Like I show this example because this is something I would never touch, like with a 10-foot pole. Like I just would never do it. Sponsored. Okay. Sponsored. I actually just booked them yesterday for my wedding. So like I was in this too, doing it, but
All right.
you can see, okay, VIP presidential affordable. First one, Bell, 5-star, Earth, presidential, you know, 24/7, Vegas VIP, right? Like every single one of those sites is local. Okay.
Right.
Like there's no like, you know, organic, or sorry, there's no like national brand. There's really no, you know, this is a company with a Facebook page, like that kind of stuff. Um, and these are all on the first page.
Well, the only one I saw,
So these,
I only saw one.
so five, so some of these, like they're named. So presidential is there. Affordable limos, Las Vegas. I think this is a different company that go, like they changed it to like to match the keywords, but it leads to one of these basically.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Like there's Earth, that's fine. Bell, 5-star VIP, presidential, affordable. See. Um, Party bus, that's Crown, Earth limos, luxury. Yeah, I just don't like 5-star. See, Bell has two map packs because they have two locations. So I mean, they're really stepping it up 24/7. This is just something I would like, again, I take a look at this and I'm like, no way. Like I don't want, it's not having a Yelp that's in the first spot or anything like that. It's all, very optimized local sites. So that kind of helps you get an idea, right, of what to kind of look for, what not to look for.
Like you said, it's not that you can't do red, but why spend all that time
Correct.
when there's an,
Especially when you're looking at this from a lead gen perspective where I'm the one taking the risk per se. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing all the work up front, right? Whereas if I had a limo company come to me and say, "Hey, I want you to do my SEO," right? I would 100% do it as long as I set up the expectations, but they're going to pay me well for that because I know how much work is going to be involved to get them moving, right? So
right.
I think there's a lot other easier options for you to, I mean, again, there's thousands of niches, right? We just have to, you know, kind of go for the easier ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, speaking of that, the easier ones, he was talking about, and I know I want to get off track here, but one of the things were the citations. And I sort of understand what citations are. It's other places on the web where your address and phone number, okay. But how do you get 40 citations?
Yeah.
I mean, where does that come? I understand the backlinks, I
Yeah.
think, but the
So,
citations seem,
yeah.
other than white pages and Yelp and Facebook, I mean, where else? How are you going to get 40 citations?
Yeah. So if you go, we have citation lists that I can give you too. They're in the Facebook group under files. But, honestly, something I've learned just doing this as long as I have, the internet is really like an intertwining, really crazy web. And there's these most random little sites. Like it's just all interconnecting that they're like I could give you a whole list of them that you just go and put them on there, like if you want to do them. Citations are one of the easiest things to do. I just don't think we're not there yet for you to do them because
No, I
obviously,
just didn't understand, because as you're watching the thing, he didn't really delve deep into how
yeah,
do you get those? Why would somebody else put my address and phone number on their site?
more directories. That's kind of what they
Okay,
like
okay.
a directory thing. That would be a very easy example. And the reason why people would put it on their site is because people get traffic and stuff from the like people want like we'll get into that. It's more of like the optimized section kind of stuff of citations. But yeah, I mean, there's all these stupid, crazy, random sites that yeah, you can easily do. Citations are one of the easiest things in my opinion. Just you got to have a solid name, address, and phone number though before you do it. But yeah, they're very simple to do. So don't worry about that too much.
Okay. I figured it was coming, but it was like he talked about it, as part of ranking and all that stuff, but didn't really go into like how do you know, I don't know. And it
Yeah,
seems like
just not
most
there.
of the people he was giving examples of didn't really have citations. It's like they have three, but then one guy had 40 or something. It was like, well, how did he get 40 citations?
Yeah.
You
Um,
know, well, hello.
okay. Oh, I can send you where I'm getting
No,
off track.
that's okay. I
I'll
know you
send
told
it
me
to
to.
you, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
that's
not there yet. It was just
yeah,
one of those things in the back of my head.
yeah. Basically,
So,
citations are used for the maps. Okay. Backlinks are primarily used for a website, like the actual website. Now you could technically like you could point backlinks to your map listing as well, but that's like, kind of a little more in depth. But I mean, there's different reasons why you would or could, but again, we are trying to be simple, especially in the first one. I mean, like we gotta just get the first one down and we can like, you see the process, then boom, okay, like I get it now, all that kind of stuff. But when you start to get into some crazy competitiveness, right? Like that's where you kind of maybe have to add, some extra flair and put it, with that stuff. But right now, that's not what the focus is. So, basically citations are for maps, backlinks are for websites, and all we're looking for is to find some holes, in the market, right? And that's what we are doing. That is our primary focus, at this point. And here, I'm gonna do this before I forget to, just so I can send you that list. Um, I just went into this like I think I told you this originally. I went in pretty naive, like it was almost the best thing for me, honestly, because I just said okay, and I just did it. Um, I kind of didn't know what I was doing a little bit. Like like I did, but it wasn't, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, makes sense. But it really did solidify for me once I saw the process done. So I think that is truly where you'll get. But just try not to, don't try to understand everything right now. You're not going to, like, you're just not. Come to me with the questions that you need clarification on, but also like, you know, just stick with the the points, that we're trying to do, or else you will get, like I said, you can spin yourself crazy, trying to.
now you mentioned the Facebook group again.
Mhm.
The only way that I can get to that is through the community tab. Like I couldn't find them on Facebook. I never got a
Here, I'll
notification
make
to link.
sure. I think I invited you, but I don't know if it
Yeah,
went.
it's not. I mean, I checked everything on my Facebook
Okay.
page. There was nothing.
Okay, hold on one sec. Um. Mhm. Oh, Facebook. Mm.
See, now I do have one. I did get a notification that says "Welcome to JK." They've you know, but that was through the community tab, and now it's here. Yeah, so I
Oh,
never got a
here.
link from you. I just
Hold
got
on.
something.
You're already a member, so you are in there, which is great. So now let me, I'll share my screen. So this is the group. I just checked, you're in there. So if you want to search for it, right? If you just type, like here, I'll just hit my
See,
home
I
button.
tried typing JK, nothing came up. I didn't know.
Okay, so if you type JK, it should pop up like this.
Okay,
Did it work?
yeah,
Okay. One thing I'll say that has made it a little easier for me, I'm in so many darn groups that like I had to do this because I just get so like, this is why I don't like Facebook because I mean, I have like 4,000 friends and I don't have 4,000 friends. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who these people are sometimes, but, if you go to your groups, right? If you click on that,
I don't know where the hell that is. Hold on.
just on the, it should
Home, I
just
got
be on the left.
friends, groups. Okay, got it.
Okay. Um, Mine's gonna look a little different than yours because I manage the group. So mine's gonna be under, it should say like groups you're in or whatever.
Groups
And you
you've
should see,
joined, right? Here it
yeah.
is.
So if you see JK, you should click, you can like right click on it or click on it, I think, and it should give you the option to pin it, like to pin to, oh, okay, never mind. Maybe you could do it right here. So if you go, sorry, back into the
I'm
main
trying
group.
to go back and forth between my page and yours. So
I
where?
know, I'm sorry.
No,
They,
it's okay.
okay, so if you go into the group again, the real group like this, and then you click on these three dots, there should be a thing that says pin
What
group.
top right?
Yeah, it'll say pin group.
Pin group, got it.
Yeah, so if you pin it, it's gonna pin to the top usually. So like on your sidebar, like in your Facebook, like if you click the home button, see my shortcuts, it should be pinned right there.
Yes, got it.
Okay, perfect. So that's the easiest one I do. Like, I mean, because then you can just click right there and it's always there, you know? So
Now, is this where, because I know that they have the live events, what, Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever.
yeah,
Is this where that is? Because I don't know
correct. So this was ePay on Tuesday.
where.
Can you see my, if you go up to the top, right here, it's always under featured. So it'll be
Hold
in
on. Okay,
most,
so I have to go to featured. Okay, I'm there. It's loading. I got Chad Kimball at the top.
mm,
Long thing. Then Jarrett Miller. Another Jarrett Miller. I don't see ePay on here at all.
okay, so go back, like, don't click on featured, just does your page look like this? Like how mine looks?
Hold on. I'm gonna try. Let me move you over.
Okay.
I'm trying to go back and forth on the same screen and it's not working. Okay, so if I go home, and go to JK, it says write something, and it might know because I don't have ePay on
Right
there. Again, I've got
below, yeah. I mean, does it say ePay?
no. My first ones are Yanni P, Dan Garcia, Jerry. I don't see ePay on here at all. I've got the about, I've got write something, I've got all that.
What the
Groups
heck?
and featured. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to get the, oh, so the featured, you can minimize it or expand it. I just expanded it. And there he
Okay.
is.
Yeah. So the most recent, lives are always pinned, to the top.
Okay.
So um basically if you go into the group at um, you know, sorry, 7:30 our time, 4:30 Pacific. If you go into that group, uh then it's always going to be there. It'll either, if it's live right then, it will be it'll pop up and it'll have a big red thing that says live right now, and you can just click on it. If you can't make it, again, no problem. You can always, like, I can go back and rewatch this whole thing.
Now,
Sometimes
when you
I
say
like to
go into
do
the group,
that.
where, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be dense here.
No, it's
When
okay.
you say, so I open up the thing, I'm on the JK site.
Correct.
It's
It will literally be
it's
like right
7:30 on Tuesday.
here. It'll pop up right in how, like, it'll always be the first thing when someone's live. It's the very first they broadcast it. Like it
Okay.
it'll say like Ipe is live right now, like with a big red
Okay.
thing that says live broadcast or something.
All
And
right. And
then
that's Tuesdays and when?
Tuesdays and Thursdays. So there's one tonight. If you want to join in. And again, I sometimes do, and honestly, sometimes I just wait for them to be recorded so that I can skip through what I want to skip through, like,
Well,
um,
7:30 is not a good time for me. That's
yeah,
my wife's home. It's our time to,
of
you know,
course. I hear you. Believe me, I know exactly I know it's how it is for me too. I mean, daytime for me works, right? The kids are in school, right? Like, I mean, when Jeff gets home and the kids are home, I'm in, like, I need to want to and need to be present, right? So, um, that's why I like to just rewatch them, the next day. Like, I can go through here and I can, speed it up if I want to skip over something, or, whatever the case is, right? Like, you can do all of that. So, just know that that's, and like this one, okay, he was answering, so this was more like Q&A. So anyone can hop, like, you can, any kind of question, basically, they could hop on and, he was gonna go over that. And then he was also showing, his hiring process for VAs, right? Like, so that's a question we get a lot. We're not there yet, obviously, so, like, don't worry about it. But again, sometimes if you feel like you can listen and just know that some of the stuff is going to be over your head a little bit, like, and be okay with it, then I think it's fine. If you feel like you don't want to add anything else to your plate right now from a knowledge standpoint, I get that too.
I
Um,
just didn't want to miss out doing something I'm supposed to be doing.
I just think the most important part is the beginning right now is just doing what I tell you to do. Like, we need to get through the due diligence. If you want to rewatch those videos, great. That's what I want you to focus on, like, this stuff's all here. It's not going anywhere, right? So you can rewatch this at any point.
Right.
If you felt the need. I just think you getting through the beginning and that foundation is the most important part. So that's what I would say.
I just got your list.
Mhm.
So now I'm assuming, because I know that the longest video he had on that first thing was the one on picking your niche.
Mhm.
And it sounded like he recorded that back in 2016. So I'm assuming that's still relevant today.
Correct. Yeah. And like I think I've said this, there's some, you'll see, I mean, some videos are newer, right? If we need to reshoot them, but also if we don't need to reshoot it, what are we, like, why are we going to reshoot it? I mean, it's all the same. We're going to do the same due diligence. You're going to look for the competition, right? You're going to figure out what it is. If it's low hanging fruit, if it's, easy to get into, great. If not, okay too. And here's, hold on, show you this as well. If you give me a little, I have some time before noon. I'll send you a couple links that I think are really good due diligence videos, like from, you know, like Char did one, I think Jarrett did one, and I do think that they're more like it visually shows you the exact process, right? So I think that maybe that would be beneficial to you, to go through that.
speaking of videos, and I can't remember which ones they were, but there's a couple of these lessons here where Dan mentions, so below this, there are videos on how to use this or how to use that, and there's nothing there.
It's probably
I'd
the
have to go
video.
back.
I think he means the videos like below that video. Is that what he was saying?
I don't know. I mean, he says, so right below this video, there's, we've got videos on like how to use this or how to use, whatever it is.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's probably what he means because if you're in the due diligence portion, I mean, there are videos like, okay, getting through using X, Y, and Z, right? Like, so I would assume, I mean, if you can kind of tell me what exactly it is, I can figure it
I
out.
don't know. I mean, again,
Right.
there was just so many. I was like, well, the links aren't there. I don't know, and
Yeah.
they're not on the worksheet. So
Don't stress about it. I'm telling you, I promise you, like, I want you to, we need to dumb this process down because this is where you're gonna get overwhelmed and it doesn't, don't. Like, I'm just focus on what I showed you and I'm gonna I'll send you two other videos that I think are really good. That I
okay,
think go over the process visually, but also just very like clarifying things, but
okay,
remember, I don't want you to overcomplicate this. So, you know, that's the focus I want you to have right now. And then we can, get through the next portion. Um, what is today? Thursday? Okay. Like, okay. When do you think that you could have a goal for yourself to get 10 due diligence sheets done?
cool.
And and I'm not trying to put pressure on you by any means. I just want to
No, no,
set
no, no.
something
Because
up.
I'm trying to think everything I've got coming up. That's the other thing. Since I'm unemployed,
Yeah,
things seem to fill my calendar,
I hear
and
ya.
I get volunteered for things, and
Huh?
it's like, oh well, you
I,
can just drive to Atlanta if you want to and pick this up and come back. Well, that's a whole day,
oh
you
my
know.
God. Yeah, no, hey, listen, I'm right there with you. I'm in the thick of it right now.
Right,
I'm planning the wedding by myself at this point, and it's frustrating. I'm literally done. Like I about ready to say, I don't care how much money I paid in deposits. I'm about ready to go to the courthouse.
right.
So no, I hear you,
Well, that's
but
what my cousin did. They were trying to plan this whole wedding in Louisville. She just They flew to Vegas, went to a chapel and had pictures taken and came back and said, okay, we're married. I'm tired of all the, why are
yeah,
we doing this?
no, I know. I think it's he's been gone for like a month basically traveling for work and stuff, but I think it's like it's just overwhelming at this point and I'm the same way. I'm getting volunteered for things that I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that I was gonna have to do that too," like I thought it
Right.
was just those, but even if you start working on some today or like kind of pick and choose
I'm
throughout
trying
the
to think.
weekend or whatever the case is, right? If we plan to touch base next week, maybe earlier in
Yeah.
the week, like, you know, um, even Tuesday, right? Like I think
Yeah,
that's
that's what I was kind of thinking. I wrote down Tuesday.
okay. I think that's a good
I say that. I gotta check. Jeez, yeah, Tuesday's fine. So I'll go into your calendar thing and find out when you're available.
yeah, go ahead and book it. And then sorry, I got it. That way we can have that goal set and then just come to the table with 10 due diligence sheets filled out to the best of your ability. I don't want you stressing either, right? I'm telling you, like, don't freak out about it. Like, just take notes, write what you want to write that makes sense in your head from what, again, we've talked about and gone through in this video and what you've learned too. What we're looking for is maps, match to organics. Are there sponsored posts, right? Are the websites missing? And also you got to remember, like, take your gut instinctual on it too. Like, I mean, you can look at a website and say, oh my gosh, like this looks really old or doesn't even look like they've updated it or it doesn't have a lot of content on it, right? Like those are all things that you can take note of that are beneficial, to our to our process. So that's what I would do.
Okay.
All right. Okay. That's game plan. And we'll touch base Tuesday. You know where to find me if you need me in the meantime. And then I will find those other videos too and send those to you, okay?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Give me like 20 minutes and I can send that over.
Oh,
I'm gonna
take your time. Take your time because I got a lot of other stuff to do. So
Okay. All right. Well,
got
hey,
you scheduled for
you're
Tuesday
doing
at ten
good.
thirty.
You're doing good. Just stick with it. I promise. I know that, the pieces are all gonna fit together. So just
All of a sudden
go
it'll
with
click.
trust the process. Go with me on it and I'll help you.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, listen, thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome. Well, all right. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care,
Okay.
Sarah.
Bye. Yeah.